Hey everybody, you asked, so let's lawyer some suits together.
I don't get it. I mean, if he's such a genius, why does he get so nervous around a bunch of investors?
You spend 2 years working on a satellite phone that fits in your pocket and then bet the company on it.
Well, it's a startup
You'd be a little
client.
nervous too, I think.
The prototype. I can't find
There he
it. I don't
is,
know where.
classic startup.
You mean this?
Not wearing a suit, because startups don't wear suits.
Fail miserably.
I would know. I worked with startup companies, and I still
$20
do.
million prototype, yes, and you don't even get to
Suits
look at
aren't
this
cool.
bad boy until after we close the deal today.
They're like stormtroopers.
Stormtroopers don't write checks. All you gotta do is walk in there, show them how the phone works.
Right. And Suntech Digital will be a new force in global communications.
Let's knock them dead.
Chasing money is a huge responsibility for startup founders and entrepreneurs.
Where do you think you're going?
A lot of them aren't
Into the
profitable
room
companies.
with the people. Wrong. That's the adult
So they
table
need
in
investor
there,
money.
and you haven't earned the privilege yet.
I played air hockey with
You
him.
need to go back to the office and file a patent for
Oh,
the phone.
classic power
Well,
move,
not to file a
dude.
patent.
Figure it out.
Can't we do that after?
No, and you keep talking, I'm gonna start billing you, and my time runs $1,000 an hour.
But isn't this our time, Mr. Hand?
I stand corrected. Your Fast Times at Richmond high quote, that proves you belong at the adult table.
First off, $1,000 an hour for Harvey is kind of a steal. Most of the top firms' partners will charge anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000 an hour. Of course, this episode is from a decade or so ago, so it's possible that rates have increased since then. In this scene, Wyatt is chasing venture capital money from these venture capital investors, and so he has Harvey present, presumably to answer questions. That's actually not very realistic. In Silicon Valley, when an entrepreneur goes to venture capital funds and wants to raise money, they typically handle that process on their own, and they only get the lawyer involved when it actually comes to the terms of the deal and drawing up the legal paperwork to make the fundraising happen. However, when it comes to the meetings of boards of directors of companies, they usually have the lawyer present for those. Also, in this scene where Harvey asks Mike to file and prepare a patent, even though traditionally the work that they do is corporate work, that is very unrealistic. Filing a patent is a very complicated process. So complicated that it doesn't just require you going to law school in order to become a patent prosecutor, aka somebody who creates patents on behalf of their clients. Additionally, most law firms will require patent prosecutors to have technical undergraduate degrees. We're talking science, engineering, or mathematics.
You wanted to see me?
Sit down.
That's a nice office, dude.
I looked through your work on the Bainbridge briefs. Spectacular. You caught the discrepancies between listed assets and potential assets. That had a huge impact, Mike.
Yeah, I know. Millions, but anyone would have caught that, right?
Out of the 50 associates that are under my purview, not one of them would have caught that. You just have this eye for detail, Mike. I mean, no wonder
'cause
why
he's
Harvey's
Mike
so
Ross,
crazy
baby.
about you. It's amazing. I mean, I really, really seriously appreciate that.
Hey, thank you, Lewis. That's nice.
You know that I pick a pony out of the herd every year, don't you?
A pony?
He
Oh, yeah.
wants
Someone who shows
to.
potential, stamp my own little brand on him.
He wants Mike to be his associate.
Are you
Classic,
that pony, Mike?
dude.
I work for Harvey.
Oof.
As you should.
Good.
Well, listen, I have some work to get to, so maybe we can meet for lunch tomorrow at the club, say 1 p.m.
Yeah, he's gonna try to win him
tomorrow?
I
over.
know I just posed that as a question, but I really didn't mean it that way.
This is super accurate. Partners are always on the hunt for the best associates. And that's because after a couple of years of working in a law firm setting, associates will only typically work with 1 to 3 partners. Sometimes it could be more, of course, this is a case-by-case dependent thing, but most often associates will gravitate and work with 1 to 2 primary partners. On the flip side, partners are running a business operation on their own. They have all of their clients, they have all of these moving deals and different pieces, and they need really good associates not only to do the technical legal work, but also manage all of those moving parts. So it helps them tremendously if they have a competent and capable associate that they can trust to get these things done. And that's why you see Lewis lobbying Mike so hard here to become his star pony. Because Lewis knows that if he gets Mike under his roster, it's gonna make his life a lot easier.
So it's Velocity Data Solutions. Did you serve them with notice of the hearing?
They're a billion-dollar company.
The bigger they are, the harder they fall.
Did you not see the sign outside?
Just putting it away, Your Honor.
It should already be in your pocket. but you were running late, so perhaps that's why it wasn't. Let the record show the counsel is fined $1,000 for failing to follow the posted rules of the court.
Your Honor, I didn't mean to.
Dude, no way.
Another outburst like
$1,000
that,
fine.
and you will be escorted out.
This guy's a hard ass, man.
Mr. Salinger.
Your Honor, this is a waste of your time. The U.S. Patent Office is the only judicial body that should be handling this dispute. Velocity Data Solutions requests dismissal.
Your Honor, if I may, this injunction request...
Counsel's approach. That's the exhibit filing? Why wasn't I given a courtesy copy?
Given the expedited nature of this hearing, I
Hand it to me. Hand it to me.
This guy just hates Harvey, dude. Hates him.
And I would have assumed that a lawyer appearing before a judge would come on time with his mouth shut and prepared with a courtesy brief.
My apologies.
Request denied. Court adjourned for the morning.
Wow. Ouch. First of all, judges have limited discretion in punishing attorneys who are not following the rules of the court. For something as esoteric as the phone being out when the courtroom says no phones allowed, and for that judge to fine Harvey $1,000, that's unheard of. The bar is already pretty darn high for attorneys to get sanctioned for misconduct in the law, let alone sanctioned by the judge for violating the rules of a courtroom. Especially like this case, when this was Harvey's first time with this judge in this case, very unlikely a judge is going to be that harsh off the bat. And the second point, I think they did a good job showing how the judge asked counsel, aka Harvey and the opposing lawyer, to come up to the bench and discuss something in private. Judges will often do that when they think there's a procedural or a timely matter, or sometimes even just an administrative issue like whether or not the judge received the briefs or filings that needs to be handled. And occasionally, a judge can do it if they think that they can strike a deal right then and there between the parties to settle the case and move on.
Sorry, sir, but
No introduction is necessary. We're on a first-name basis. I brought you a present, yours to keep, after you sign my injunction.
A pen?
It's custom. French. Le Bic.
My earlier ruling wasn't clear enough for you?
Crystal. But I didn't want you to suffer for it. You see, if you don't sign my injunction, there's going to be a lawsuit. And when the next judge sees all the facts, he's going to overturn your ruling.
You may be right, but by then your clients will have dumped you.
You may be right, but that sterling reputation that you value so highly, down the tubes.
Which would matter except for one thing. I've decided to leave the bench. Try my hand at litigation.
And I'm your last case.
Divorce will do that. Make you want to change your life.
You filed for divorce?
Soon enough. Perhaps we could discuss a little quid pro quo before I do.
I'm listening.
Okay.
You sign a document that says you slept with my wife, I'll give you your injunction.
And why would you want me to do that?
That's
To prevent her from taking me for
Totally.
half of everything I own.
That's totally illegal.
So what you're saying is, you'd like to blackmail me.
I'm saying we could both benefit.
He's
And since you're the
bartering.
one who screwed me, I'd say you owe me one.
What that judge is doing is completely unethical and illegal. He's bartering his judicial authority and power in exchange for a personal benefit that Harvey can provide him, aka signing some affidavit that is going to help him in his divorce proceedings. All judges in the United States are subject to what is called the Code of Conduct of United States Judges. And this code governs the general ethical rules that judges must abide by in the course of their duties. And Canon 3 of this code explicitly addresses conflicts of interests like this one. It says that a judge, quote, may not allow family, social, or other interests or relationships to influence judicial conduct or judgment. This judge is clearly letting their personal interests interfere and directly determine the outcome of this case. Completely unethical, and if this is discovered and reported to the bench or the ABA, it's possible that they'll be fired from the bench as a judge and lose their legal license entirely.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm terribly sorry, but we have a problem.
What problem? We came down here because you led us to
How many
believe that your
lawyers
client
does that
was ready
company
to
have?
accept our settlement agreement.
6
And I
lawyers?
thought he would.
Dude, totally
Look,
unnecessary.
I took him the offer. I presented it to him and recommended that he take it. In fact, I urged him to take it. You know what he told me to do? He told me to tell you to shove it up your ass.
Now, I know you didn't have me come all
They're
the way
in a
down
patent
here
dispute.
just to
This
tell
company's
me.
trying to steal this other guy's
You're
patent
right.
right now.
That's not all Wyatt said. He said rather than spending years fighting this out in court, in 48 hours, he's going to put this online.
Oh, he's gonna release it publicly.
That's a little rough, but you get the idea.
There goes the
What are you
valuable
showing us? Is this a
information.
website?
Available at the Suntech domain name.
All the design plans and calculations have been uploaded,
Is this online now?
Can be.
which means the whole world will have access to my designs.
They'll
And
need
then it's
10
no longer
knockoffs of that
valuable.
phone before you can catch a cab back to
As
your
valuable.
headquarters.
We could file an injunction.
Not before tomorrow, and once that technology is out there, good luck putting that genie back in the bottle.
Well, then we'll
Yep.
sue.
But my client won't have any money. What he will have is credit for the initial design, which, after he incorporates under a different name, will be worth a hell of a lot more money than the $20 million that you're offering.
And you're saying that this was all your client's idea.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, first of all, like I just said while the video was running, why there were 6 other lawyers on the other side for that company, who knows? Maybe some of them weren't lawyers and they were business people, perhaps a paralegal or a summer associate shadowing. But given that 5 of them did absolutely nothing in that meeting, that's a great example of how law firms just overbill their clients for unnecessary work. But not my law firm, For Creators by Creators PC, where we represent content creators, social media influencers, and startup companies. Every dollar is spent transparently, and we even honor budget caps if our clients can only afford a certain amount of money for the legal issue they're having. Now, Suits nailed it on the head when Harvey explained that Wyatt, the entrepreneur who actually created those designs for the phone, will have the original credit for the design of that phone. And that is despite the case that that counterparty company right there technically filed a patent before Wyatt did. And that's because in the United States, we have what's called a first inventor to file policy. And that policy dictates that regardless of who files the patent first, the original inventor of the design underlying a patent will receive that credit. And not only that, the inventor has up to 12 months after the information about their design is readily available to counterparties that can copy them to file that patent. So just because somebody comes along and steals the patent, like in this case, that doesn't mean that they're gonna win credit for that underlying design. Also, Harvey's threat about creating a new corporate entity and then assigning the intellectual property to that new entity, thereby circumventing any chance that this company would be able to sue them, it's a little bit unrealistic. Ultimately, even if Harvey followed through with his threat and Wyatt shut down his existing company, created a new corporate structure, and then assigned the patent and invention to that structure, that opposing party can still come after that newly created entity and sue them into the dirt. But of course, litigation is costly and it's stressful and it's strategic. And sometimes it may not be worth the headache. One last point, you might be wondering when these phone designs are made public, if that renders the patent basically purposeless and meaningless because now the information is publicly available to everybody out there. What's the point of a patent after that, you might ask? Well, there's a little bit of a misconception that patents are secret. The reality is that when you have a formal patent that is granted to you, it's public information. It exists for all to see. A patent doesn't protect the information itself. What it protects is your right to take down and go after anybody who is infringing on your patent by creating a similar design or product. So although the threat here was pretty radical for Wyatt to publicize these phone designs that are so valuable, even if a bunch of companies out there copied his design, after receiving the patent from the USPTO, he would be able to go to every single one of those companies and say, you need to take down your product that's infringing on mine and pay me damages, otherwise I'm gonna sue you. This is partially why companies like Coca-Cola haven't actually patented their unique signature products. For these companies, it's more important to keep their recipes a secret than get the patent protection for a certain number of years and then allow the information to be out there publicly.
Thought you weren't coming.
Had to settle a case first.
You have the paperwork we talked about? What is this?
It's a copy of the Judicial Conduct Codes. A friend of mine works at the Attorney
we
General's
talked about that
office.
earlier.
Gave it to me. We had a nice chat about you. I told him if you were willing to blackmail
dude, he's so
someone
screwed.
once, chances are you'd done it before. He's very anxious to meet you.
You think you can get away with screwing my wife and then have me investigated?
You actually have it the wrong way around. The only thing I've done so far is have you investigated.
What?
I never actually slept with Lauren. but I knew you'd never believe me, so I kept my mouth shut. But now that she's getting a divorce, my policy no longer applies. And of course, she's free to date whoever she pleases. And she pleases me. Enjoy your evening, Donald.
Get wrecked. All right, everybody, that's it from me. Take care as always. And if you enjoyed this, please hit that sub button to support me and the channel and the content that we are producing. And if you need a transactional lawyer, you know where to find me.